Dr. Cicely Tyson.
Somebody better give me some handkerchiefs. Arthur Mitchell. Arthur Mitchell, Arthur Mitchell, Arthur Mitchell. I never thought the day would come when I would be doing this for you. I can't remember a day when you were not in my life. It happened quite unexpectedly to me. I don't make it a habit to speak to strangers, especially men. And so when you stopped me that evening after I was performing in a production of Vinette Carroll's, I believe it was God's Trombone. It was an off-Broadway production. And I was on my way home. I was walking west on 8th Street, and I saw this very erect, straight, perfect-bodied male walking towards me. And so I stepped to the side to get out of his way. And he moved with me. I looked at him. He extended his hand and he said, "My name is Arthur Mitchell. I'm a dancer." And I said, "My name is Cicely Tyson," and I started to move on. He said, "I know who you are. I know what you do. I've been following you." And so he chit-chatted something, I don't know, I just wanted to get away from him. And finally I said, "You know, it's rather late, and I have to go to work in the morning." He said, "I thought you just finished working." I said, "That's my night job. I have a day job." And he said, "All right." By this time I had moved away from him, and he was still coming at me, and he said to me, "Someday you and I are going to work together." I nodded my head, and I said to myself, there's no way in the world he and I will work together. Because he's a dancer, I'm not a dancer, I'm an actress. And I went on. Well, for some curious reason, every evening when I was finished my performance and headed home, he seemed to be in the same spot every evening. "Hi," he said. I said, "Hi," and I kept going, and he kept following me. And so finally I said, "Where do you live?" He said, "I live 321 West 78th Street." I said, "Oh, all right." That meant every night I had an escort because I lived on 74th Street. Whether I wanted it or not, I had an escort, and the escort was Arthur Mitchell. We made one stop every night, and it was at a local candy store where he purchased a pint of vanilla ice cream every single night. Took it home and ate it every single night of his life that I knew of. He did that. The wonderful thing that happened between us is that things grew in such a way that we seemed to have been melded together. We talked incessantly into the night. He would go home, I would go home, the phone would ring, it would be Arthur Mitchell. I forgot to tell you this, but I'm working on a special project. I can't talk about it just now, but I'll tell you as soon as I have it set in my mind. Okay. This conversation would go on for 2 hours into the morning. Okay? I'd fall asleep and he'd still be there talking. The marvelous thing about him was, people have a tendency to say certain things. I rarely ever listen to what they say. I listen to what I feel from what they say, which frequently is different. He was one of the most sensitive, loving, although he didn't want people to know this, giving human beings that I have ever had the opportunity to meet. When Dr. Martin Luther King was assassinated, he met me as usual. We walked home together. He didn't have very much to say, nor did I. I guess it was because we were both stunned by what had taken place. Well, when I got home, the phone rang. It was Arthur. He said, I want to do something. We have to do something. We can't let his life go like this. We have to do something. I said, okay. He said, I'm going to think about it, and I'll call you back. He called me back, not that evening, but the following evening. And he said, I've come up with an idea. I've decided I want to start my own dance company. And I want you with me. So he said, come on over. It was 1:30 in the morning. I got out of bed, got dressed, grabbed a cab, and went over to him. We sat on the floor, and we talked for hours on end about what it would mean for him to do this. And he said to me, there's one other person I think I'd like to have with us. It was Brock Peters, the actor. Brock lived that's right, go ahead. That's right. Thank you. Brock lived not too far from us, about 2 blocks. He didn't call him. He said, let's go over there. This is 2 o'clock in the morning. So we went. Of course, Brock and Dee Dee were in bed sleeping. Okay. So he said through the door, I don't want to wake Dee Dee, but I want you to come to the house with us. Brock said, what's the matter? He said, I'll tell you when you get there. Come on, hurry up, let's go. So we went back to his house. He wasn't a very good host. I mean, he may offer you a glass of water, and if you had your own tea bag, you could have a cup of tea. Oh, God. Oh, Lord have mercy. I tell you, I have to be a child of God because I have lived through some turmoil. Do you hear me? So we had a glass of water or a cup of tea or whatever it was we had. We sat on the floor, and for hours we tried to decide how we would put this together. And finally, he said, I'm just going to try to find the best black dancers I could find, make the best ballet dancers of them, and we will have for the first time a black ballet dance company. And that is how the Dance Theater of Harlem was born, sitting on the floor of Mr. Mitchell's apartment. He, myself, and Brock Peters formed the Dance Theater of Harlem. When I received a phone call from Hollywood that was offering me my first major role, it was in the movie Sounder. And on my way to the airport, I stopped by Arthur's apartment, because we shared everything. Not lovingly, but we shared everything. I stopped by his apartment and I said, I came by to tell you that I am going to Hollywood to do my first major movie. He looked at me and he said, and you are going to be nominated for an Academy Award. I said to him, if I am, you will be my escort. His prediction came true, as it often did. He was very perceptive and intuitive. He flew out to the event. It occurred on his birthday, and we had one old time. Here's a photograph. Thank you. I thought I'd share that with you. This year, when I received a telephone call from my agent saying that he had good news, I had been out to California for the Emmy Awards. I didn't get it. I mean, I had been nominated 4 times, so I said, oh, well, the good news is that they probably decided finally that they're going to give me one or something. So he said, I have the president of the Academy on the phone, and he would like to give you the good news himself. I heard this voice say, Miss Tyson, it gives me great joy to tell you that yesterday the Board of Governors, all 54 of them, decided to give you an honorary Oscar. Well, I went to water. I just started bawling. I just couldn't stop myself. I didn't know what hit me. I didn't even tell the man thank you. Do you understand? And so the first person I thought of was Arthur. I thought, I've got to tell him. I've got to tell him. I said, they're not nominating me. They've already given it to me. And I learned from Whoopi Goldberg. She said she was on the Board of Governors. She came in, she said, I was so tired, I don't like to fly anyway. I came in, I just plopped myself down at the foot of the table. And she said, when Mr. Bailey made that announcement, he said, I will start the roster name. And before he could get a word out of his mouth, Whoopi Goldberg said, Cicely Tyson. Well, she said, around the entire table, 54 of them, Cicely Tyson, Cicely Tyson, Cicely Tyson, Cicely Tyson. And it was unanimous, and that's how I got it. I could not wait to tell him. I got on the phone, and I called him. Monday, called him. Tuesday, Wednesday. I said, it's not like him not to return a call to me. Something's up, or maybe he went away. He didn't tell me he was going away. I started to fight with myself. Okay? So finally, on Thursday, I said to him, on the machine, I said, oh, never mind. I'm going to tell you anyway. And I reminded him that 45 years ago, I was nominated. I said I didn't win it that time, but this time I have it. And I'm calling to ask you to do a repeat performance. Fly out and help me bring it home. No response. So I said, something's not right. Something's wrong. I decided I was going to go up to his house, and something told me not to do that. I was sitting in my apartment trying to figure out what was wrong. And while I was doing that, nobody told me that he was in the hospital and that he was ill, or how ill he was, because he told them not to tell me that he was going to be fine. And then when he realized that he was not going to be fine, he asked someone to call me. And the person just thought it was too late. It was 12 o'clock midnight and said, I can't do that. I'll call her in the morning. And of course, in the morning, as chaotic as things got, you know, it just went out of her head, and she forgot. And I'm sitting there, and the phone rings. And it was my assistant who had been called. And he said, Arthur Mitchell just passed. Excuse me. I tell you, you know, we all think that we know ourselves, but we really don't. Because you never know how you are going to react in a particular set of circumstances. I had something come out of me that I never dreamed I had it in me. It was a scream that had to echo around the world, because this is the last thing in the world I expected to hear. I never got to see him. I never got to talk to him. I never get to view him. And I think perhaps that's best, because I don't think he would have wanted me to see him that way. To say that I have lost one of the most and dearest person in my life is an understatement. And I want his family to know that I am here for them whenever they need me. I'm here for them. And I offer my sympathy and condolences for all of those who have benefited by his presence on this universe. Thank you all, and God bless you.